Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Suci. Here I will tell you about a story of a novel. The title is Around the World in 80 Days. Actually, before I read it, I very confused and I asked why and how it can around the world in 80 days. But if you do know what about this story, don't worry guys, I will tell you about it. Check it out. This is a planned schedule for Mr. Fogg and Passepartout to Around the World in 80 Days. Around the World in 80 Days is a fantastic adventure novel by French novelist Jules Verne. It follows the story of Phileas Fogg, an eccentric English gentleman living in London who is a leader of a association called the Reform Club. He received a bet of £20,000 from his friends at the Reform Club. This money he will be refreshed if he successfully travels the world within 80 days. He saying simply, that used to be true. Then, he also departed, accompanied by his assistant, Passepartout. They left London by train at a quarter to 8 p.m. on 2 October 1872, and were hereby required to return to the Reform Club at the same time 80 days later on 21 December. Arriving in a gap, they were watched by a Scotland Yard detective named Fix. Detective Fix is sent from London to find a bank robber who has stolen £55,000. Fix thinks that Fogg is a robber he is looking for. At that time, Fogg promised ship engineers a big reward if they could get to Bombay quickly. They finally made it 2 days before schedule. So, with 2 extra days added, Fogg and Passepartout changed to take the train from Bombay to Calcutta. Now, Fix follows them in secret. However, it turned out that the construction of the railroad had not been completed, so they had to ride on elephant. This elephant was purchased by Phileas Fogg for £2,000. While walking using this elephant, they saw a Parsi woman named Mrs. Auda, who was going to be burned alive during a sati ceremony. This young woman was the wife of a Maharaja who had passed away. So, they stopped and wanted to save this woman. Then, the next day, Passepartout pretended to be this dead Maharaja and lay down under a cloth next to this woman. Then, when the fire was lit, he got up. So, the audience was shocked and he was able to escape Auda. The 2 extra days that Fogg could gain with this were lost, but Fogg did not regret it. So, these travelers then took the train at the nearest station carrying Auda. In Calcutta, they were arrested by Fix because previously in Bombay, Passepartout made in a scan in a Hindu temple, but both were executed by the court after Fogg paid penance. After that, they managed to get on a fire boat to Hong Kong. Auda came with them because his life is threatened in he lived in India. Arriving in Hong Kong, Fix talked to Passepartout, But Passepartout doesn't believe that his master is a bank robber. So, Fix brought Passepartout to a bar and broke lots of liquor and opium. So, he became drunk. With this, Passepartout could not inform its master that the SS Titanic they were going to be boarding to Yokohama was accelerated. After Passepartout regained consciousness, he managed to reach the SS Titanic, but was unable to inform his master. Meanwhile, Fogg lost his passport and finds out the next day that his ship was departed. Luckily, he managed to find another ship sailing for Yokohama. So, Fogg and Auda boarded this ship. Fogg is now being followed by Fix, who doesn't want to let him go. Arriving in Yokohama, Fogg found Passepartout, who now works in circus. Then, the four of them boarded a fireboat headed to San Francisco. From now on, Fix to the Passepartout that he will not hold back Fogg's journey anymore, but try to find a way so they can quickly reach Great Britain. In San Francisco, they took the train to Chicago, but on the way, they were attacked by the Indians. The charming Indians Passepartout and the two other passengers. With the help of U.S. federal soldiers, they managed to free travel, but the trip was stopped because of missing a train. So, they rented a sailing sled and reached Chicago with it. There, they can catch the train to New York. However, in New York, they arrived late, so they could not get on the ship bound for Liverpool. Quickly, they found a ship sailing for Bordeaux, France. In the middle of the sea, Fogg boarded the ship. Much of the sound of the ships used by Fogg followed them to reach the Irish port city of Queenstown. From there, they took a fire to Dublin, and from Dublin by boat to Liverpool. However, he arrived in Liverpool. Fogg was arrested by Fix and thrown into a cell at the local police station. In this police station, a few hours later, Fix released because the real bank robber had been arrested. So, Fogg immediately chartered a train to London. But when they got to London, they were 5 minutes late. So, the three of them went to Fogg's house. At home, Fogg was alone for a day. At that time, Passepartout and Auda worried that he might want to kill himself. Luckily, he didn't do this, and the next day in the afternoon, Fogg called Auda. He apologized to Auda for taking him around the world. Auda said that she was really grateful to him for saving her. Then, Fogg asked Auda if he wanted to marry her. Auda agreed, and Fogg took Passepartout to call the pastor to carry out the marriage contract. Then, Passepartout went to the pastor's house to ask if the pastor was willing to marry the two of them the next day, which is Monday. The pastor was not willing because the next was Sunday and not Monday. Passepartout then realized that it was still Saturday, December 21 December, and it was not yet a quarter to 9. So he ran off dragging Fogg to the Reform Club. Fogg realized he had miscalculated by not taking the limit, so he was lucky one day. Fogg made it to the Reform Club just before a quarter to 9 and hereby won a bid of £20,000. However, due to the very high cost of travel, he made little profit. This little profit was then distributed to Passepartout and Fix because he was no longer angry with him anymore. Then, finally, Fogg married Auda. The story is very interesting for me because we will know how Fogg can around the world in 80 days, and from this story gives it the impression that to make a dream come true requires a lot of struggle and sacrifice. And in the end, thank you for watching this video guys, and see you in the next video.